Pendergast.
Someone ask about this earlier. Puka Nacua, wide receiver for the Rams, and Julian Edelman, former wide receiver for the New England Patriots, sat down, had a conversation. I'm assuming it was on Edelman's podcast. Julian Edelman brought up CJ Stroud, and among the many topics they talked about was CJ Stroud and his struggles in year two. Do you agree with this assessment of these two of CJ Stroud in year two?
What do you think about CJ Stroud's second season?
I think
Offensive line.
Yeah, I think there was definitely, and then I think it's, I mean, not only on him, but like the coaches to be like, yo, we got to evolve our game plan as well. Of being like, yeah, we had, especially with their wideouts. I mean, they had Stephon Diggs, they had Nico
Diggs
Collins.
got hurt.
Yeah.
Collins was banged up. They were, and Dell got hurt.
Dell got hurt
they,
too, yeah.
they had a lot of, everyone keeps on saying sophomore slump. I think he just had a tough situation where his offensive line wasn't playing particularly well. He had his best playmakers were in and out of the lineup like all year long. And it's hard for a guy to get comfortable when he's got guys in his lap trying to read the defense, and that's what he likes to do. So
and it's also hard to get comfortable when like you don't know any of those guys running out there.
Especially they haven't been practicing. They ain't going to be the same guy that was in training camp when they come back. That's what people don't realize. Practice time is extremely important.
Okay, I agree with some of it. I think the one thing is they give credible and reasonable passes to CJ that I agree with. The part about not having practice time with the wide receivers, with Nico, now practice time during the season, yes, that's true. But Nico and Tank, obviously, he already had a good relationship with. And I think with Stephon Diggs, we saw a very good relationship forming between CJ and Stephon Diggs. Made to Stephon in the first half of the season was really impressive. And then we saw, I mean, you can look at the statistical gap of CJ in the first, was it 8 games that he had Stephon?
Yes.
And then the 9 games afterwards, everything plummeted. It was just a different offense. So I don't read into that as much as that, yeah, he really missed Stephon Diggs after he was gone. But the pass protection alone, in which, remember, CJ Stroud's pressure rate, the amount of time he got pressured for the season, was higher than what Pat Mahomes faced in the Super Bowl. And Pat Mahomes had the second worst game of his career in a lot of respects in the Super Bowl. That's very, very real. I think when it comes to, okay, well, how much of that can change? 100%, most of it is on Nick Caley and whether he's actually a viable offensive coordinator. And we won't know until we see it. But in terms of evolving the pass game, yes, develop a better quick game, give CJ more options earlier, spread the ball out over the field more. But then also the presence of a credible rushing attack. It doesn't have to be an incredible rushing attack. Just something that if you're gonna base a lot of your offense on play action, you don't actually have to be awesome at running the ball to have a good play action game. But you've got to command some level of respect, and they commanded zero respect in the run game. And yes, that's on the players, but really, you take the same players from last year, and if they have a better offensive coordinator, I think that they had the potential to have at least a viable rushing attack last year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. To Puka or Julian Edelman's point, probably collectively their point, but I forget which one said it that made me think to go to this. I mean, the five-headed monster that CJ talked about before the season of the 3 wide receivers, Nico, Tank, and Diggs, plus Dalton Schultz, plus Joe Mixon, played together, the 5 of them, for 2 games, and it was the first 2 games of the year, and Mixon sprained an ankle in that game. Yeah. You know, like and now look, you're not going to, it's football, so you're not going to have all 5 of them together for all 17 games. We get that, but the inconsistency with which they played together. Mixon misses 3 games at the outset of the year. You know, he gets hurt in week 2 against the Bears. He misses the next 3 weeks. Nico misses basically after that touchdown against the Bills all of week 5, and then the next 5 weeks after that. Doesn't come back till the Dallas game. By the time Nico comes back, Diggs is gone for the season. You know, he's gone in the Colts game, and then you lose Tank in that Chiefs game down the stretch in the regular season. So there is some inconsistency there. Look, if you're a quarterback, you got to deal with it. It just makes dealing with that sort of disjointed skill position rapport, Seth, that you're also dealing with an offensive line that's not playing well at the same time. You can deal with one of those things. The offensive line's not playing well, but I got all these weapons. My weapons are all hurt, but at least I'm getting protected, and I've got time to throw, and guys like John Mechie and Xavier Hutchinson have a little more time to get open, or we can scheme some things, whatever the case may be. CJ was dealing with both. A bad offensive line at the same time.